Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shailene and today we are going to talk about my most anticipated releases for the second half of 2019. So there are quite a few books on this list. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. Let's just jump right on into the video. I have these categorized chronologically, of course. The first books that I'm about to talk about, first two, are already out by the time that I'm filming this video and by the time that's probably up. This is In Ocean's Deep by Bill Streever. This is out July 2nd. So Bill Streever is a long-time deep sea diver. He has woven together a book about the history and the science of the ocean and its deep sea and its long legacy. This is all about ocean exploration and how humans over time have found ways to explore the ocean's deep. That's a very shortened version of it. I'm just excited to read this because I love the ocean, I love marine biology. I typically love exploration of pretty much any kind. I find it very interesting. I'm quite excited to read this. So another book that I'm quite looking forward to is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This is out July 2nd, so it's already out by the time you're seeing this video. So basically an apartment sitter goes to an apartment that has a dark past. If she meets another apartment sitter, that apartment sitter pretty much goes missing. Something has happened and, you know, crazy things go down. There's a killer on the loose, pretty much. When I first read the synopsis of this, I actually thought that it was quite boring. I thought, you know, why would you ever want to read a book about people in an apartment building? It just sounded very boring to me, but then I heard Lava talking about this. And I'm like, dang, I need to add that to my TBR. I actually can't wait for this book now, so yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to read this. And next we have Archaeology from Space by Sarah Parcak. This comes out July 9th. So Sarah Parcak is an archaeologist who has basically revolutionized the way that archaeologists do archaeology now, and she's done that by using satellite technology to identify different archaeological sites throughout the world and in places like Egypt, India, Peru, like everywhere you can imagine. There are archaeological sites that are being found using this technology. So this book goes into detail about how this technology can be used in the future to discover new archaeological sites, as well as, you know, the future of archaeology as a whole. So I am excited to read this because it does also talk about the discoveries they have made using this technology. So yeah, I'm just super excited to read this. This is another one that I have requested an ARC from NetGalley, but I have yet to receive any kind of communication from NetGalley on whether or not I'll be approved to read this. This is definitely one I will 100%, if I get a chance to go to the bookstore, I will go, I will pick up, I will buy, I will read, I will love, and I will cherish. So the next book is a thriller. This is The Chain by Adrian McKinty. Basically, the synopsis for this is just amazing. So I'm going to read the whole synopsis. You just dropped off your child at the bus stop. A panicked stranger calls your phone. Your child has been kidnapped, and the stranger explains that their child has also been kidnapped by a completely different stranger. The only way to get your child back is to kidnap another child within 24 hours. Your child will be released only when the next victim's parents kidnap yet another child. And most importantly, the stranger explains, if you don't kidnap a child, or if the next parents don't kidnap a child, your child will be murdered. Now you are a part of the chain. That just sends goosebumps up my spine. That's so nuts and so diabolical and evil, and yeah, hopefully this will be a thrilling read. I'm excited for this one. So the next book is actually a YA novel. It's been pretty hyped up. A lot of people are looking forward to reading this. This is Wilder Girls by Rory. This also comes out July 9th. So basically on an isolated island, a school kind of gets this here pathogen / disease. I don't know what it is. But the school's put under quarantine, and then the teachers all start dying, so some students start dying, and animals have been turned into monsters because of this weird pathogen, so the woods are like extremely dangerous. Basically, this is about a girl, Hetty. She goes missing, and her friend Wyatt, I don't know how to pronounce that name, sets out to find her, discovering that there is more to their story and their life at the school and this year weird pathogens than they ever thought possible. So yeah, stuff happens, and this has been very hyped up. The cover is gorgeous. I love this cover. So yeah, I'm excited for this. It's supposed to be like a horror and a sci-fi. There's LGBTQ representation, so that's great as well. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. This is a book that I have been waiting for to come out for literally years. It's been pushed back I don't know how many times, and it's very, very frustrating, but the author has a different name that she writes under primarily now. So this is Poisoned Waters, book 7 of the Sacred Breath series by Nadia Scrieva. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but this comes out July 31st. Hopefully it does not get pushed back again, because that would be devastating. But basically this is the 7th book in the Sacred Breath series. The first book is called Drowning Mermaids. It's actually free on iBooks, so you can go ahead and download it. I've been a fan of this series for over... God, I think I started reading it in 2012. So it's been a while. And yeah, the last book that came out, I believe, came out in like, I can't even remember. I think the last book came out in like 2014, 2015-ish. So yeah, new book hasn't been out in a while. I have to reread the series, but I'm excited for this book. So pretty much, if you love mermaids and you love drama, you'll probably really like this series. So the next book is another very ocean-inspired book. This is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. This comes out August 6th. So basically, Analea lives a sheltered life in a manor by the sea. Analea has experienced many tragic things in her past, which I think many of her sisters have died. They've all met very, very tragic ends. Throughout the village, there are whispers of a family curse that has been thrust upon her family by the gods. Analea is disturbed by startling visions, and she begins to suspect that the deaths weren't accidents at all. So when Analea's involvement with a mysterious stranger who has secrets of his own intensifies, it's a race to unravel the darkness that has fallen over her family before it claims her next. So this seems like a very interesting and honestly super atmospheric book, and I'm so excited for it. So the next book is actually a book I have an ARC for, and I will be reading this in July. This is A Crown of Coral and Pearl by Rutherford. This comes out August 27th. This is the story of two sisters, and Noor thinks her sister Zadie is going to be chosen to become the Princess of Valeria. Noor doesn't believe she'll be chosen because she has an ugly scar across her face. But when Zadie is gravely injured, Noor becomes the one who is sent to the court to, well, court the princes. And while Noor is at court, she discovers many startling family mysteries while also negotiating the treacherous life at court. So yeah, I'm super excited to be reading this one in July because it just seems so good. So the next book that I want to read, which I'm very excited for because I read the first book from this author and it was amazing. It was one of my favorite books of 2018. I cannot wait for this book to come out. So this is The Lost Child by Emily Gunnis. This comes out September 1st. So it follows two timelines. You have a timeline in 1952. 13-year-old Rebecca decides to become a doctor after watching her mother, Harriet, die after being shot by her husband. As Rebecca fled, she saw a stranger in the window watching her. No one would believe her story, and the case was closed. Then we have present day. Iris, a journalist, has always been close with her doctor mother, Rebecca. But when her mother urges her to read the diary of her late grandmother, Rebecca, who was murdered by her husband, Iris starts to realize that there is more to the story. Iris also begins to discover what really happened in the cottage on that fateful night, and they lay to bear a secret so shocking it will change everything that she thought she knew about her family. I'm just very excited for this book because the last book was so good. And I'm very excited to read this one. So the next book is actually a book that has been highly anticipated by many people. If you read The Handmaid's Tale, then you know what I'm talking about. This is The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. This comes out September 1st. I wasn't crazy about The Handmaid's Tale, the book. The TV series is so much better. I felt like the writing in the book was very cold and stiff, and I didn't really like the writing style. But I still like the story, like, as a whole. I mean, as much as you can like a story about women being oppressed and being baby slaves, pretty much. I'm going to read the full synopsis of this because I can't explain it any other way, and it's just so much better in the blurb. So basically, when the van door slammed on Offred's future at the end of The Handmaid's Tale, readers had no way of telling what lay ahead for her freedom, prison, or death. With The Testaments, the wait is over. Margaret Atwood's sequel picks up the story 15 years later after Offred stepped into the unknown with the explosive testaments of 3 female narrators from Gilead. Dear readers, everything you've ever asked me about Gilead and its inner workings is the inspiration for this book. Well, almost everything. The other inspiration is the world we've been living in, Margaret Atwood. So, we don't have a full synopsis of this yet. It's all pretty mysterious. We don't really know the full storyline and what's going to happen. It seems so interesting. I'm suspecting that a lot of us are actually quite excited to see what the book is actually going to be about. So the next book is The Lady Rogue by Jenn Bennett. This comes out September 3rd. You guys know I'm not one that's big into fantasy, but a lot of these fantasies that are coming out just seem amazing. I'm not one for magic, but this book really caught my attention. So basically, this is The Last Magician meets A Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue in this thrilling tale filled with magic set in the mysterious Carpathian Mountains where a girl must hunt down Vlad the Impaler's cursed ring in order to save her father. Okay, that got me. The whole going on a quest and finding a legendary ring in order to save someone. Yeah, that's a trope that I love, okay? I'm excited for this one. So, out of all these books on this list, this is the book that I'm probably the most excited for. I still have to read the first book from this author, but this is The Girl the Sea Gave Back by Adrian Young. This comes out September 3rd. So this is actually a companion novel in the Sky in the Deep series. This is set in the same world 10 years after the events of the first novel, and it follows the character Halvard. So yeah, obviously I have to read the first book before I read this one. I definitely will be buying the 2 of them because yeah, this cover is gorgeous. So again, this is a book that I gotta read the full synopsis because I can't really summarize this. So for as long as she can remember, Tova has lived among the Seville. The people who found her washed ashore as a child and used her for her gift as a truth tongue. Her own home and clan are long faded memories, but the sacred symbols and staves inked over every inch of her skin mark her as one who can cast the rune stones and see into the future. She has found a fragile place among those who fear her. When 2 clans to the east bury their age-old blood feud and join together as one, her world is dangerously close to collapse. For the first time in generations, the leaders of the Seville are divided. Should they maintain peace or go to war with the allied clans to protect their newfound power? When their chieftain looks to Tova to cast the stones, she sets into motion a series of events that will not only change the landscape of the mainland forever, but will give her something she believes she can never have again: a home. This is quite interesting. I'm super excited for it. This cover is just drool worthy. It's gorgeous. Okay, so on to the next novel. I actually have an arc of this, so I will be reading this in August. This is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Probably did not pronounce that correctly, but this comes out September 24th. This is the story about slavery. You have a young man, Hiram Walker, who's born into bondage and possesses a mysterious power and that same power saves his life and gives him the courage to escape. So yeah, I'm also quite excited for this one. I haven't read too many books with magical realism in it, so it seems quite interesting, and also the cover's gorgeous. So next we have Queen Meryl by Erin Carlson. This comes out September 24th. This is a book that explores Meryl Streep's life, from her iconic roles to her feminist activism, and honestly, do you need to know any more than that? It's Meryl Streep. She's an icon. She's amazing. I'm excited to read this, and I'm not typically a person that reads many biographies of famous people. Okay, the next book we have is The Gracier by Kim Liggett. This comes out on October 8th. So basically, when girls reach their 16th year, they go into what's called the Gracier. Girls are believed they have the power to lure grown men from their beds. They drive women with jealousy. So that's why they're banished for the 16th year, and they release their magic into the wild so they can return purified and ready for marriage. They do this with other teenage girls, which they kind of gotta fight to the death with, kind of thing. So it's basically touted as a Hunger Games meets The Handmaid's Tale, which is very, very interesting. I'm actually quite excited to read this one when it comes out. It seems like a very interesting novel. The next book, and this is the last one on my list, this is actually a mermaid novel. This is Coral by Sarah Ella. This comes out November 12th. So this is pretty much a Little Mermaid retelling with a focus on mental health. So the story follows 3 different people. You have Coral, who is a mermaid, and mermaids are apparently not supposed to have feelings, so when they do have feelings and emotions, they call it a disease. And then above sea, Brooke, she's kind of suicidal. She feels like she has nothing left to live for, and so I'm guessing she tries to commit suicide by drowning herself in the ocean. And then you have Merrick in San Francisco. He wants nothing more to escape his controlling father. His little sister tries to attempt suicide, and basically escape becomes the only option, and I also assume that he tries to drown himself in the ocean. So 3 of their worlds collide together, and this just seems like an interesting novel. So those are all of my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. I didn't have anything for December because I honestly couldn't find any books that came out December, but I kept finding books that came out in like 2020. So yeah, don't have any December releases on my list. So if you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. You can go ahead and follow me on Goodreads, Instagram, and Twitter. I'll leave those links in the description, and I guess I will probably see you guys next time. Bye!